everybody, it's Annalise, and this is my last video about my study abroad experience in Ireland, just about my last few days there. I can't believe it's over. It's absolutely the best experience ever. I loved it so much. I think where I left off in the last video is I'm about to go on a dark side of Dublin walking tour with some friends. And so that was pretty cool. We thought it might be more like myths and ghost stories type thing, and it wasn't. It was more just about the straightforward history of Dublin, but that was interesting. And even though we'd heard most of it, it's always fun to hear what every tour guide, what spin they put on it. So it was fun and just a nice way to see the city because it was beautiful out. And appreciate because my friend Honora was leaving the next day, so it was very good to be able to spend that last bit of time with her, because the next day, Sunday, my friend Grace and I woke up very early to go on a day trip to Northern Ireland. So we started off, and it was through a tour group called Wild Rover Tours that I would very highly recommend. I know Paddy Wagon Tours also does a similar one, but we really wanted to do the black cab taxi option that Wild Rover had, and they did a great job. I have nothing but positive things to say about them. So the first stop on the trip was Belfast, and this was my first time in the north of Ireland. Never been to Belfast before, so I was very excited. And there was an option within the tour to either go to the Titanic Museum or on a black cab political taxi tour, and we wanted to do the taxi tour. The Titanic Museum did look very cool from the outside, and I've heard it's good, but I've never even seen the movie. I'm just not that into the history of Titanic. I'm sure it would be very interesting to go inside, but I was fine just seeing it from the outside, since it's a very cool building architecturally. Each point of the building is the same actual size as the real ship was, so that was cool. But then, yes, we did the black cab taxi tour, and the one we did, I think all of the passengers were with drivers who from nationalist Catholic backgrounds, and so that was perfect for what Grace and I wanted to learn about. I'm sure there are other versions of it from a more unionist perspective, but that's just not the background that either of us come from, so we're more interested in this side of things. And it was very, very informative and very interesting. Obviously sad. The Troubles were a terrible time in Northern Ireland's history, but I think very much worth learning about, because the tensions from then are still very much not over. One of the things that we looked at along the tour were the so-called peace walls, which are giant walls that separate the Catholic and Protestant neighborhoods from each other. And the main one that we're going along, it's 2.5 miles long, and it has gates that you can drive or walk through, but they're only open from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. They close every night and have to reopen every morning, and so it's just still a very divided city. And really all of Northern Ireland is still pretty divided. It's definitely getting better, but it's still, but so a lot of the murals we got to see were very cool. I was very impressed with just the artistry of them, even beyond the political points they were making. They're very cool. Another thing that really shocked me to see was alongside the peace walls, a lot of the houses had these cages built in the back to stop anything from hitting them if they were thrown over. And so that was just so foreign to me. Never seen anything like that. So it was really worth going on that tour. I thought I did learn a lot. Even having known a fair amount about the Troubles before, I would highly recommend going on one of those. It was very interesting. And then from Belfast, we went to Dunluce Castle, which I had not heard about. Everyone else on the tour seemed much more aware of what we were going to, because Dunluce Castle is actually a filming spot for Game of Thrones, and I didn't know that. I thought we were just going to an awesome castle, and it was so pretty. the weather was perfect while we were there, and so the sea just looked so beautiful, and a lot of the castle was still left. Like, it is in ruins, but it's a really big building, and so a lot of the core elements were still there. And so it was absolutely stunning, and apparently it's where they filmed the House of Greyjoy scenes. Again, I don't know anything about what that means. I have not seen the show, but from what my friend showed me, it seemed like they do like CGI to make it seem like there's more of the castle left than there actually is. Because as you can see, like from the pictures, there really isn't all that much left, but it's still really cool and really pretty. And from there we went to Giant's Causeway, which is so cool. I know a lot of people like in the north think, it's just a very touristy spot, and it certainly is, but I think it's really worth going to. I thought it was really pretty. And so it's basically, even just the normal coastline part is beautiful, but the part that's like the real attraction are these, Wikipedia says there are 40,000 of them, basalt columns that scientifically were formed because of like volcanic fissure eruptions. And so they're like mostly hexagons that are all like interlocked together that are really cool. But I really like the mythological explanation of them, because a very similar like geologic phenomenon happened on the coast of Scotland as well. And so the story of how they formed in Irish mythology is that a very long time ago, Finn McCool, who was a giant, he was 35 feet tall, was hearing that a giant in Scotland named Benandonner was like talking trash about him. And so he challenged Benandonner to a fight. And the Scottish giant was like, well, how am I supposed to get over there? And so Finn McCool builds this bridge of the like basalt columns from Northern Ireland to Scotland, just by like ripping the rock out of the ground and putting it as a bridge. And so, Benandonner comes over to fight him, and Finn McCool sees, as Benandonner is walking down the pathway, that Benandonner is like 3 times his height. He's like, I absolutely cannot fight this man. And so he rushes home to his wife, who, this is what the tour guide said, he was like, and as wives usually are, she was 3 steps ahead of Finn. But so she had cut down a bunch of trees and built a giant bassinet and sewn all their sheets together into baby clothes. And so she tells Finn that they're going to dress him up like a giant baby and like pretend he's a baby when Benandonner comes. And so they do that, dress him up in like the baby clothes and put him in the crib. And Benandonner comes and knocks on the door. And Finn McCool's wife says, like, he's not here, I don't know where he is, but you can come in and have a cup of tea. So Benandonner comes in and sees the enormous crib in the corner with this 35-foot tall baby. And, Finn McCool's like pretending to cry and like really acting out the baby thing. And so Benandonner sees this and is like, oh my gosh, what size giant does it take to have a baby that's 35 feet tall? Benandonner's like, I cannot fight him, like I would lose so badly. And so he leaves and runs across the bridge back to Scotland, ripping up the stones as he goes and throwing them back. And that's why they're all like stacked and put together on the coast of Northern Ireland, is because the bridge was thrown up over there. And so I think that's a very fun mythological story, a little more interesting than just like, to be honest, volcanoes are very cool on their own, but I thought that was a very fun mythological story. And so it was just an incredible trip to the north of Ireland. And on the way back, we even saw, like, it's very faint and hard to tell from the pictures, but we could see the coast of Scotland from Northern Ireland. It was a little bit hazy and hard to see, but we could like fully see to Scotland. So that was just very cool and something I didn't expect. So we got back and obviously just spent a lot of time packing And then Monday we did like last minute souvenir shopping and had to get our COVID tests because to travel back to the US you needed a negative test. And then we got some ice cream. It was actually super hot out. It was like 75 degrees or something, which we were not expecting. But got Murphy's ice cream, which is really good. I had Kieran's cookies and Irish brown bread as my flavors, and Irish brown bread sounds weird, but is absolutely delicious. And I know they have just some fun flavors like chocolate whiskey and pink gin, things like that that my friends really liked. And then we went to a pub just to hang out for a bit in the afternoon because they had some live music going on, and that pub was the Old Storehouse, which was the first pub I ever went to in Ireland. Also with Grace. This was me, Grace, and Sarah, but Grace and I had both gone like one of our very first days in Dublin there as our very first pub, so it felt like a very full circle moment. And then we just went and got dinner at a place called Kennedy's. That's also like a very old pub in Dublin. So that was the end, and then on Tuesday, Grace and I were flying out to the US at very similar times, so we went to the airport together, and it was a little stressful getting through like checking our bags and security, and then to get to America you have to go through a whole second security thing, and then I had a connection in Newark, and the connection was flying out of a different terminal than I arrived in, so I had to go through security again. So you know, I got so used to taking all my electronics out of my bag. But, you know, my flights all went smoothly and made it here to Cincinnati, where, so this is the first time I've been in my parents' new house. It's very nice, but before this I spent like 24 hours in Cincinnati, so it's funny being here instead of Indiana. But, it's nice, and then in a few days I drive up to Pennsylvania for my internship this summer. So real whirlwind of a time, but all very exciting things. And so even though I am, like my friends and I are really sad that we are no longer on exchange, like we're not in Ireland anymore, but it's just the start of more exciting things to come. So yeah, thank you all for watching these videos. Means a lot of you guys were either keeping up with them, maybe just watching one once in a while. Maybe this is the first one. That's fine. Like, you know, there's a lot to see, so I don't blame anyone for not watching them. But it's been a lot of fun making them, and I think I like having these to look back on. I know my cousin Katie, who like inspired me to take these videos, I know she's really liked looking back on the blog posts she kept during her study abroad. So I'm glad I'll have these for the future, but it means a lot if anyone has been watching any to keep up. And yeah, I had an absolutely incredible time in Ireland, loved it so much, would not trade it for the world. Hope you guys also had very good past 4 months. Yeah, thanks for watching. I don't know if I'm gonna ever make another video on this channel, maybe something interesting happens, but yeah, it means a lot if anyone was watching, and yeah, bye.